Yomalies, welcome to the Naked Mennonite. This here is a brand new podcast that we're recording here today. The intention of this is to, be a kind of a podcast for you might say all of Mano Simons's black sheep, you might say, for people who, maybe they have the Mennonite label, but maybe it doesn't quite fit quite as comfy as it does for other people, and maybe you feel a little bit, out of place, maybe you don't quite belong, then, I just want to be talking to those people and hearing their stories and seeing what I can learn from them and their experiences. And I've got quite the conversation lined up here today, let me tell you. I'm going to be calling up a couple boys here, Scott and Mat Pilgrim. I'm going to call them up on the party line here, and people have been telling me that I should talk to them. And with a last name like Pilgrim, that doesn't sound very Mennonite, but I'm going to, dig into that a little bit and see what exactly is in store for us there with that. So I'm just going to give them a call here on the party line here, and we'll see if I can get a hold of them.
Hello.
Yo, hello. Is this the Pilgrim residence?
Yep.
Oh, Yomalis. Who am I speaking with?
This is Matt.
Oh, hello, Matt. This is Stephen Harder from the Naked Mennonite calling. Is this a good time to chat?
Sure.
Yeah.
You're not selling something, are you?
No. I just I'm doing a little program here for Mennonites who maybe aren't quite people who identify as Mennonite and yet they don't necessarily fit into what's commonly viewed as the Mennonite culture. And I was told that you and Scott would be good people to talk to about that. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. I've heard something about that on the party line, so it should be fine.
Oh, wonderful. Is Scott available too?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, excellent. Oh, that is awesome. Perfect. Well, yeah, thank you so much for taking this time to chat with me, boys. I really value that. So this is a program called the Naked Mennonite. So, the rules are that in order to be on this program, you have to be two things, obviously. Sorry, I'm probably springing this on you, but the first one is that you have to be naked. So I can tell you from where I'm sitting over here in my kitchen here in Steinbach, I'm on the stool, and I don't have a stitch of clothing on me here. So is that an inconvenience? I don't want to make anything weird for you two, but.
That's standard fare in our house.
Oh,
we tell people don't show up unannounced, or you're going to get an eyeful. So we're already ready.
Oh my! Oh well, then that's very free of you two. Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, well good then. So that takes care of that one. And the next one is you have to be a Mennonite in order to be on this program. That can mean a few things. But I just got a little quiz here. If I could just run through this quiz here with the both of you, and then if you whatever, it's just 3 quick questions. And so long as you get more than 50%, then you're good to go. Then.
Sure, sounds good.
Oh, okay, excellent. So first question is, what conference were you baptized into?
EMMC for me.
Oh, the stuttering one. Okay, good.
EMC for me.
Oh, okay, that's less. That's more conservative then, because you're conserving more letters then. Okay, good. Okay, so you both get a check mark on that one there. Okay, next one is, what is the right kind of filling to put in your vreniki?
Oh, that's easy. It's glums. You've got to have cottage cheese.
And for you, Scott?
Yeah, cottage cheese or blueberry.
Oh, blueberry. Yeah, blueberry or Saskatoon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because
Rhubarb.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, so like rhubarb, like the I can't even call it a tasty weed. It's definitely a weed, and it gets used in a lot of cooking out here. But Why do we eat that? Do you know? I'm just curious if you know, because I don't know why we eat it.
Well, we're Mennonites, so there it's free on the prairies.
Make
Oh.
use of what you got.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, no, that makes good sense then. Okay, good, good. Okay, so that's two. Yeah, absolutely. If you would have said mashed potato or, not cottage cheese, then that would have been a big frowny face instead of a check mark. But I got you checked off here. Okay. And then the third question is, what is your favorite kind of truck to drive? Truck or tractor?
Oh.
I'll accept either answer.
Well, okay. Well, I actually own both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've got a GMC truck
Okay.
and a Kubota tractor.
Kubota, is that a French one or?
I don't actually even. You know what? It might even be Dutch.
Oh, Dutch. Well, that's okay then. That's okay. Dutch is fine. Like I was looking for a John Deere.
Oh, yeah. No,
But
don't
maybe-
have the green.
Okay, not everyone can afford a John Deere.
Well, I've heard if you're not Dutch, you're not much. So
Oh.
I thought I would go that direction. For
Oh,
the
okay.
tractor.
Well, then if there's a rhyme to it, then I think that's justifiable. That makes
makes it
it
truth.
easy. Yeah, absolutely. Good. And Scott, do you agree with those answers?
Uh,
I don't know if you own trucks or tractors.
my favorite of both of those is for someone else to drive them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Getting chauffeured around then.
Yeah, that's my preference.
Oh, you're the fancy kind of Mennonite.
Yes.
Bit of a
Oh,
princess, that one.
well, or a prince, you might say, I guess, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
identify more with the princess.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine, I suppose. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, well, you both pass. You both pass the quiz, so you both qualify to be on the program here. Scott and Mat Pilgrim, I'm assuming you're brothers then?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're married to each other. Husbands.
Yeah.
But sorry. The line got I must have misheard something there. Sorry, you said that you were brothers or cousins?
No, we're married to each other. We're husbands.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's sorry. I don't mean to be rude. It's just I live in Steinbach here, so there aren't any gay people around, and I just never have spoken to one or two before. No, I wasn't. That wasn't what I was. Okay then. Okay. Okay. I'll just. Oh. Okay. Well then. Why? Sorry. That was probably not the best way to ask that question then.
Why what?
Well, that doesn't seem like, why did you two get married to each other?
Oh, well, it's what people do when they love each other.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess when you put it like that, I guess that does seem like, a caring kind of thing to do, but okay. No, I think we need to rewind time a little bit because I'm not like let's start at the beginning then. So what how did you know? Can walk me through your story, one of you. Tell me, trace for me what your history with this, can I call it a lifestyle? Can I call it a choice? What kind of verbiage should I be using here?
I would call it an identity.
Oh, an identity. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so walk me through your identity as being someone who is, married to,
Well, well, I knew from a very, very young age that I liked guys. I guess at that point I was 7 years old, so I liked boys. I was 7 years old when I realized that that one day I would want to marry a boy, not a girl. And but I also grew up in a Mennonite home, that was very greatly frowned upon. So I spent the better part of my life I would have called it struggling with homosexuality,
Mm.
and trying to pray the gay away, as it were. And so yeah, I mean, very very early on, I met with pastors and preachers who would help me pray. I went through what we called at that time the was it the 7 or the 12 steps of freedom or something like that. I think it was 7 steps to freedom is what they called it.
Yeah, not like that AA
No,
business.
no, no, yeah. And of course that didn't help. And so yeah, just I didn't even have a whole lot of experience uh, with that sort of thing, because yeah, it's just in growing up in a Mennonite community because it's frowned upon so highly. There's not a whole lot of out gay people. I didn't meet any out gay people until I was in my 30s,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, until I was about 35. Um, so yeah, no, I spent most of my life trying to fix myself. I went to Bible college. I spent 4.5 years at college,
Which
and
one?
uh, Bethany College in Hepburn, Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And I saw counselors, and I even had a couple of pastors, not all at the same time, but over time, perform what I would call an exorcism, because I was convinced that I had a demon inside me
Mm.
that was causing this, a demon of homosexuality, and of course, nothing they did could pray it away, because it wasn't a problem. It wasn't something that was wrong with me. It was who I am. It is who I am, and so there's nothing that's going to make it go away.
Mm.
And I came to that realization when I was 35 years old, and that it wasn't going to go away. That I couldn't make it go away. That it was who I am, and still is who I am. And so I decided that I needed to just stop kidding myself, and came out of the closet, and shortly thereafter met Scott, and um, yeah. So I don't know how far on my story you want me to
Hmm.
tell, but
Well, I'm curious, like for you to, at 7 years old to be, identifying this way is that something that you verbalize out loud as a 7-year old? Is it something that you keep within you, or what did that look like for you?
it was very much a secret, because yeah, I mean, I knew right away is that it was a very very bad thing, because I was once caught by one of my parents um, kissing a boy, and I was punished for it. Um, and the interesting thing for me was well, I mean, I was punished. I Okay, so I'll back up a bit. There was this one girl who was my best friend at that time, and we had been kissing, and my parents found out, and the punishment for kissing her was severe. She actually got sent away to go live with her father in another province, and I didn't see her again for many 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 years. And then I kissed a boy, and I also got into trouble for that, of course. But there were very few consequences for that. So I guess one might say that the consequences for kissing girls is worse than the consequences for kissing boys. But I still knew that kissing people was probably a bad thing, so I just kept everything under wraps and didn't tell people about it.
And yet you seem to be, very active in the kissing department.
Well, when you've got the skills.
Whoa, whoa, Scott, does he have the skills?
I have no complaints.
Interesting. Oh, whereabouts did you grow up there, Matt?
I grew up what this side of the river would call Yonseed. I grew up in Altona, Winkler, Morden, that area.
Oh, yeah, definitely Yancey then. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, okay, EMMC then. Okay, yeah, it all clicks. It all makes sense then. Okay, so then you are, this young boy who knows that there are desires inside of him that are wrong, and he has to keep them quiet. He knows that he doesn't quite fit in with, the society around him, and then he spends his time trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I had from my teens on, I had six girlfriends. One of whom I eventually married.
Oh,
And we've got 4 kids together. And so when I came out at 35, I mean, when we got married, this wasn't a secret to her that I was struggling with homosexuality. But we had decided that this was something we could fight together, and that we could defeat in the name of Jesus, and be done with it. So
I hear there's power in the blood.
yeah, that's what they say. So so we got married, and we had 4 kids. And and then when I decided I needed to come out, then I just let her know that I felt it was something I needed to do, and to be honest with myself and with the people around me, and that I was done fighting, or for something that was a losing battle anyway. I would rather spend the rest of my life embracing who I was than making my life a living hell fighting something that I couldn't defeat. And so yeah, we mutually agreed that I would move on, and so I did.
Interesting. How long were you married for?
7 years.
7 years and 4 kids. Okay, gotcha. So that means you're getting married in your late 20s?
Yeah, I was 28 when I got married.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. And then she was your last girlfriend, obviously. Okay, good. No, I want to make sure I get the timeline very accurate here. This is very important.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, so then what was your, what were your relationships like at like day one there, or whatever, year one after coming out? Especially because you were living still in Yancey at this point, right?
Well, yeah. I was living after I moved out from my ex-wife's place. Then I lived with my brother for a month or two. Well, it was about a month, and he graciously took me in, and living in such a what would you call it, a secluded, not secluded, but protected, sheltered, that's the word, a sheltered society. Finding other gay men was very, very difficult. And I wasn't looking for romance. Like I said, till that point, I had actually never met an out gay man before. I didn't know what I was getting into, didn't know who to turn to for support, or even just to be friends. And so I went online, onto a dating website, because that's all there was, and was just looking for other people in my area that I could talk to. And on the application I was using, I had set my search parameters to 50 kilometers. I did not want to deal with what I thought at that time was the mess of Winnipeg.
Sinful mess.
I know, right? And found 1 or 2 people that I could talk to, but they too were people who were very much in the closet, and I was looking for someone that could tell me more about what I was going through, and not someone who was basically, in my opinion, worse off than I was, because they were still in the closet. And then and then I met this one guy who online he reached out to me, who mentioned that he was going through the same thing, married with kids, and preparing to come out of the closet. And so we started chatting, and he was more so looking for someone to talk to as well, which was perfect for me because, again, I wasn't looking for romance. I was just looking for support, and we felt that we could support each other, being at the exact same stage in our lives, and so we chatted back and forth for a week by text. That was before smartphones even. So, so yeah, we texted back and forth using the T9 keyboard.
I don't even know what that means. Like, how long ago? How long ago was this now that this part of the story is taking place?
9.5 years ago.
Yeah, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
2012 was 9.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. 2022. Yep. That's when it is. All right.
And to qualify that, it was late 2012.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I came out.
Fall.
Fall. I came out in September, and met Scott, is the person I'm talking about now, online in November, October. Yes, October.
Interesting. And like, color in for me, like your relationship with your family. What was that looking like during this time?
Well, it depends which part of my family you're referring to. My wife and kids at that time, we had decided that my life was in a bit of a turmoil, and very much of a turmoil at that point, and that being involved in my kids' life during that time was probably not the best thing for them. So we mutually agreed that I would step away and to get my life. I hate to use the word, but straightened out.
Did you get straightened out there, Matt?
I am now moving gaily forward. My on the paternal side of my family was very much a very negative thing, that response that I got. Nobody would talk to me again. None of my aunts and uncles. I had my dad's side of the family. He's got 9 brothers and sisters, and all of which I was really close with prior to that, and none of them wanted to talk to me ever again. And so I didn't, and I haven't. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 of them here and there, but
like in passing at the liquor store?
Pretty much, yeah. Socially, not at all. But just in passing, and they're nice enough. I mean, they don't go around rebuking the devil as I walk by, but yeah, they're cordial, and then we move on, and that's kind of how things are with my dad as well. We don't talk much. He doesn't want to meet Scott, so ultimately, if that's his decision, then I mean, Scott's a major part of my life. Then Scott is my life, and so you can't just reject one part of my life like that and expect me to subdivide it. So I've hidden in the closet long enough, and I'm committed to Scott, and so yeah, I haven't seen my dad in several years.
What, like, I'm just curious, what do you think, and whatever, this is all speculative, right? Like, what do you think fuels that? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it just adamant, I know that this is wrong, and somehow God wants me to reject my son? Is it like shame because, like, whatever, like blaming himself, or what do you think?
Well, I think you're touching on a whole lot of points there that are all of them, not just one of them. Having been in the Mennonite faith, I was definitely very zealous at the time, and believed very much as my family does. My dad's side of the family does, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm saddened by their reaction and their conviction, but I understand their reaction and their conviction because they it's their faith, it's who they are, and unfortunately the Mennonite faith dictates that homosexuality is a sin, and if you have a brother who's decided upon a life of sin, you must cast him aside as if he were a sinner. And so that's what they've done. And I don't feel that it's out of hate. It's out of concern, I suppose. It could be one word that they would use. Out of love is another one that they would use. More so, I think, out of zeal or conviction to their faith would be more accurate. And definitely some fear. One of the first things that that my own dad said when I finally told him that I was coming out was, "You realize that people are going to think that I'm gay too now." So there's definitely some fear aspect there, and so there's it's and again I can't fault my dad or my family for thinking such things, because it is a way of life that is shunned in the Mennonite culture, and there's a lot of ignorance there, that they just, and you fear what you don't know, you fear what you don't understand, and so they reject it and push it away.
You probably can't tell, but I've got a very quizzical look on my face here. Just the idea that if your son is gay, then you must be gay too. I cannot relate to that line of thinking.
Especially if your line of thinking comes from the idea that this is a choice that I've made. If this is a choice that I've made, how can it be something that is affected by my lineage?
Interesting. Huh.
Well, it's that fear though, is whether it's hereditary or whether it's what could I have done differently to prevent that from being the case. So I think that's more so where that comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh. Interesting. One more question about your family before we move on to faith. You mentioned that you had all these aunts and uncles that you were very close with prior. Like, do you think that they knew or suspected? Like, did this come as a surprise to them, or?
Largely to those who I hadn't come out of the closet to. Like previously, I'd come out to many of them, saying that this is something I struggle with. Will you pray with me? Would you help me as much as you can, etc., etc. Those of course there wasn't a surprise, but to those whom I hadn't purposefully come out to, it was a huge surprise. Someone said I play a very good shadow game. So it was a very big surprise to them, a lot of shock when I came out that this is something that would happen, especially considering that because I had gone to Bible college, that I was seen and viewed by many as one of the most devout, holy people in the family. And so
you were really putting your time and your money where your mouth was, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So color in for me, like what was your faith journey like then? How did that interact with this coming of age, coming realization?
Well, I spent a lot of time hating myself. Like I would comb over scripture and try to find something that would help. And of course, there isn't anything in scripture that helps. Not in this way, because there's nothing that addresses it directly. There's nothing.
Well, I think Sodom and Gomorrah addresses it pretty directly.
Well, sure, absolutely. So, as a gay man, all I have to look forward to is condemnation and damnation. So that's not help. That's that's not help. That's what fueled the one day where I sat on the toilet with a steak knife prepared to cut off my manhood, because I thought that might be better than continuing the way I was. Thought maybe that would help. Thank God I didn't go through that, or whoever you want to thank, but
That's like the extreme form of circumcision, right?
exactly.
That'd be very Pauline then, right?
It would have been.
Yeah, that's what he recommends.
That's right. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your left eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. That was exactly the paragraph, the verse that I was thinking about when I sat there with that knife.
I wonder how many, good Mennonite folks, sit there with the implement, wrestling so hard with the desire to be honoring to God, that they are, contemplating, more than contemplating, they're ready to, commit bodily harm to themselves just so that they can, be aligned with God.
I really couldn't say. Like
Or
I say,
not.
I hadn't ever met anyone prior to coming out. It's so in the Mennonite culture is so much anathema that people don't talk about it. They don't do anything about it. Even in college, there were two guys that I met that were struggling with it, but again, it's so much frowned upon and so much looked down upon that it was spoken in hushed tones and once or twice here or there, but not something you discuss openly.
Yeah. Well, if you know that there's another one around, then that means you're going to start making out or something, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it means to be gay, is to make out with other guys and then
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Oh, not yet. Okay, so you were, so clearly your heart is seeking after these answers and trying to be right before God.
Yeah.
What's the journey like between that point, sitting there with that steak knife, and where you are now?
Well, once I realized that this is who I am, and most importantly, that I like who I am. That was the big, the big changer for me. That I like who I am. Yeah. Then I knew immediately that I needed to change what I was doing, change how I approached life. And I struggled for a very, very long time. Very long time. I once I decided to come out, it was very, very much a very hard and fast decision for me that that the scripture had nothing for me. That any faith that I had was going to have to come from within me and not from a book. And I continued to and still do pray. I don't pray necessarily to this Christian God, but to whatever is out there, whatever is there that's got my best interests in mind. And spent quite a lot of time calling out, just saying, "Hey, I can't do this. I can't do this on my own." And that's when I met Scott. Actually, very shortly after I started praying that was when I met Scott. And was that divine intervention? Who knows? I doubt it, because I put myself out there and sought a person to help me. So, I mean, yeah. I mean,
I hear it's more likely that you meet someone when you're actually looking to meet someone.
Right. You can't win a lottery ticket if you don't buy a ticket. Or you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. So, yeah. But what's it done to my faith, my Christian faith, my Mennonite faith? Well, I'm definitely not Mennonite anymore. That's for sure. And no, I'm not a Christian either, not in the strictest sense of the word. Do I believe in some other power out there? Yeah. Do I know who it is? Not even a little bit. And even Christians have the analogy that of the elephant that is viewed by those with such a narrow mind. I mean, one person has a tail, one person has a trunk, one person has an ear, and each of them have a completely different description of what they're viewing, and yet they are all the same thing. No one has a complete picture, and no one has all the answers. They've all got whatever they've got. So, like I said earlier, whatever my faith is, it had to come from the inside. It had to come from within me. And so I decided very quickly that I was going to. My faith would come from within myself, and I spent some time thinking and meditating on what seems right, and to ultimately make a very long story very short, love and acceptance is what I have faith in, and in love that comes from myself. Because if the world has taught us anything in the last few years, is you can't expect or you can't expect love to come from elsewhere. It's got to come from within you. And if you can project your love toward others, then that's when it's returned. And so I do. And even toward the family and friends who have rejected me, I still hope for the day that they will think better of themselves and of me, and should that time come, that I'm willing and ready to accept them with open arms. And I would like to take the opportunity to say that my mom has been a huge supporter of me. When I came out to her,
Oh, really?
yeah, when I came out to her, it was kind of funny. The response that I got from her when I said, "Mom, I'm gay, and my wife and I are divorcing," and she was like, "Oh, thank God," because apparently she had suspected it for many years and was very now excited that I was being honest with myself, and
Wow.
and was going to be who I am, and not who others expected me to be. So she has been my biggest supporter and my biggest ally in my journey, and I would say she's my closest, if not one of my closest friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. One of those stories sounds like love.
Absolutely.
Interesting. And like, your parents, are they at peace with their different approaches, or is that?
Well, they don't live together. My mom and dad have been divorced for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, since I was I think 12 years old, they've been divorced. So
Interesting.
So yeah, they can definitely have their own opinions and not affect the other one.
Interesting. Huh. Oh, wow. Oh, this has been so interesting. I didn't expect the conversation to go quite in this direction, but I think my hymn sing program is about to begin. But I'd really like to continue this conversation a little bit later. Maybe next week we could chat again, and I could hear a little bit more of your journey. Would you two be open to that?
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome then. Okay, let's pencil this in for next week, and we'll come back to this conversation then and learn a little bit more about your journeys and where exactly you have the course that you've sort of plotted for your lives, and that would be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that then. But I do need to get to my program here, so let's sign off here. But if anyone on the party line here is interested in connecting with some other, black sheep from Menno's flock, you can always find us at the Facebook group. And until next time, this is Stephen Harder reminding you that underneath our Sunday best, we're all naked. We'll talk to you next time.